I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sergeant. And then, after the esophagus has been evaluated, the doctor will then, as you guys have seen, start flipping the patient all over the place and taking those spot films. Spot images made as needed. Spot images are made. Spot images taken as needed, just so you know. Third time's a charm.
As needed, made, as needed.
As needed. Okay, so what is the upper GI going to determine? I should have put this all in red, but it's a gold star slide of what we're actually doing for an upper GI. We're evaluating the size, shape, and position of the stomach, peristalsis, the filling and the emptying of the duodenal bowl, and abnormalities in function or contour of the anatomy, things like polyps, ulcers, deformities, perforations, so on and so forth. All right, here's our positions for the upper GI, a little bit more to remember here. And these are notoriously difficult to remember, guys. Once again, I would try to make myself a little chart because it's one of these areas people just miss all the time. I remember having trouble with it when I was in school as well. These are really difficult to remember, but we're going to take it one slide at a time. I put in red once again. I think I did. I hope I did. The main points I want you to remember for each of these positions. We're going to look at the PA, PA oblique, AP oblique, the lateral, and then AP, the stomach and duodenum projection. I didn't put in red. Good. So, for PA, stomach, and duodenum, they're going to start either recumbent or upright. It can be done either way. We're going to center our IR 1 to 2 inches above the lower rib margin approximately the level of L1, L2. If they're upright, it's going to be 3 to 6 inches to the lower rib margin. I'm sorry, that got cut off. 3 to 6 inches to the lower, 3 to 6 inches above the lower rib margin for upright. But most will do it lying down, so that first one that you see in red is going to be the more important. So 1 to 2 inches above lower rib margin at the level of L1, L2. That's your centering for a PA, stomach, and duodenum.
The lower rib margin is L2 and 3, right? So then just a little bit.
What is rib margin? Like, is you saying underneath that?
The lower part of your ribs, between palpate.
Like, so like the last one?
The last one.
You should just say that.
Technically.
It's called the lower rib margin. Just calling it what it actually is called. Perpendicular central ray, guys, and we make this exposure at the end of suspended expiration. So just like an abdomen, we're looking at the abdominal area. We take it on expiration. So what are we looking at? The barium-filled stomach and the duodenal loop, also called the C loop. And for a PA, this is very important, guys. The stomach is going to move superiorly in the prone position. Otherwise, in other words, it's going to go up higher when we're prone. Also, when we're prone, where does the barium lie? Body and pyloric portions. The air will be where for a PA? In the fundus. If it's not in the body, it's in the fundus. So barium will be in the body and pylorus. Air will be in the body for a PA, stomach, and duodenum radiograph. For a PA, stomach, and duodenum radiograph, the barium will be in the body and the pylorus. The air will be in the fundus. Also, the stomach's going to move more superior in the prone position. So as I'm reading this down, I'm trying to simplify it a little more for you guys. I want you to focus on these red points on the PowerPoint. That's the main things I would ask you and what the registry would trend towards as well.
What would the air be?
In the fundus.
Fundus usually fills the abstinent patients.
Usually fills more with air in asthenic patients. There's going to be more air in an asthenic patient as compared to a sthenic patient. Okay, so what do we want to see? What's the starter show, guys? Entire stomach, keyword entire stomach, and duodenal loop. Like I said, as a student, this was a nightmare to get all this on a single radiograph. It would give me so much anxiety doing these films. Because even the book cut off a part of the stomach there. That would be an auto fail, according to my teachers.
So how would you do it? You have
open it up a little bit.
Pretty much.
The SID?
Hmm?
Oh, you increase.
Say it again, Jay.
No, you just have to get it all in one shot.
Oh, you're right.
So you have to just miss it with this patient and try to open
Mhm. Yep. No mercy. Okay, PA oblique stomach and duodenum is a specific oblique, the RAO. The RAO position. Where are we centering? Same spot, guys. Lower rib margin, level of L1, L2. That has not changed. We're just going to be in oblique, RAO, and we're going to center a little bit towards that elevated side. Now, here's where it gets kind of nasty again, guys, because they're not using 45-degree obliques. It's going to be 40 to 70 degrees.
Almost lateral.
Now, you're probably wondering, why is that such a range? Because the stomach changes vastly in shape between body habituses. You're going to increase the obliquity depending on the shape of the stomach. If it's hanging really low, you'd want more of an oblique, versus if it's more horizontal, you'd want less of an oblique. So bless you. It's variable depending on the body habitus of your patient. If it's a 40 to 70 degree oblique range, I'll put a star by that. It's one of those things people often forget on this test. But we're still centered at L1, L2 for the REO, stomach, and duodenum. Let me ask you this question before I show you the next slide. For an REO, where's the barium going to be?
It's gonna be.
There's your key word right there. It's still PA. So where's it going to be?
Pyloric portion.
Body and pylorus. So the air will be where? In the fundus. Correct. Don't let the word oblique throw you off. It's still a PA position. Therefore, that barium will still be in the same area as a regular PA. All right, so it's perpendicular central ray. We're still suspending at the end of expiration. That has not changed. And who's the star of our show again, guys? Entire stomach, duodenal loop. But for this one, particularly the PA oblique, the REO, we want the duodenal bulb and the loop in profile, which is what we see right here. Basically, this position is going to let us see the duodenal bulb a little more clearer, thus it's going to be in profile. So if you had a question that says which of the following upper GI projections would put the duodenal bulb in profile, it would be the REO. The REO is specific for that. And there you can see contrast in the body and pylorus, air in the fundus, even though it's an REO.
You said this position will put the bulb?
The duodenal bulb and the loop in profile, but primarily duodenal bulb is the main reason we do this one.
In the book, like I saw, I was doing the workbook and you have the stomach on this side and the loop on the right.
It
On
was
this
reversed.
side. Yeah.
Might have been flipped in, you should have to look at that.
Good. I thought it was the REO. I think it was the REO position.
It might have been a flipped image. You have to show me. Okay, so what are we looking at? Entire stomach in the loop. And of course, like I said on the previous slide, guys, we're still doing this primarily for the bulb and the loop placed in profile. Bulb and loop in profile, which is what you see right here. And they still cut it all off. It kind of looks like an atomic bomb, doesn't it? It looks like a mushroom cloud.
Well, it does.
I got a question.
No, you're good.
There's the fundus. There's the body. There's the seal. This is what I'm saying, guys. Every stomach is unique. Like you'll never see two stomachs that look alike. They're all vastly different in size, which is why it made such a pain to get these all in one single film. Because you can do the most optimal centering, be the best tech in the world, and you'll still miss it sometimes, just because the stomach's so weirdly shaped.
And so they clip the.
They clip the fundus and they clip the C loop.
I'm just trying to picture, you know how you say, trying to picture the barium, like when you supine, the barium's gonna go up, right?
It's gonna fall back to the fundus.
So it's gonna go, yeah. So if it's PA,
It's gonna fall forward into the body and pylorus.
oh, okay. That's what I'm just trying to picture in my head.
Okay, let's talk about the other oblique. We're gonna talk about the LPO. It's got a unique oblique, being that it's LPO only. Our centering is still the same. Our centering is a little bit different. We're going to be between the xiphoid process and the lower rib margin. It should sound kind of familiar to something else. Y'all have used that before.
isn't that
Caving.
the lower,
No.
ribs?
Lower
Similar to
ribs.
lower ribs, yes. Lower rib margin and xiphoid process in between both is where we're centering. And it's being kind of mean again, a different obliquity than the REO. Now it's a 30 to 60 degree obliquity.
But the average.
Average is 45, but you have the range of 30 to 60. Know the range. What was the other one? The REO?
Like
40 to 70.
Yeah.
But LPO is 30 to 60. 30 to 60.
But the average is.
I know it gets kind of nasty on those obliques.
And the esophagus was, 30 to 40.
Correct. 30 to 40.
Oh, this is too good.
It's a rough chapter, guys. I know.
Oh, so they also were 30?
Well, the previous one was 40 to 70.
Oh, 47.
Okay, perpendicular centure. We're still suspending on expiration. That has not changed. Well, look, that's so simple. I got nice and simple for you. What are we interested in on this position?
The fundus.
Fundic portion of the stomach, the fundus. So for LPO, barium's where? Fundus. Air is where?
The pyloric region.
Body and pylorus, because it's an AP oblique. Keyword is AP.
Wait a minute, what's going on? You said, what was your last question?
I said, where's the barium and where's the air?
Oh, on the AP. We
On
talking
the AP
about
oblique.
Oh, so
Which
it's
is an
vice
AP
versa.
projection.
Uh-huh.
So
Okay.
keyword being AP, that means barium's in the fundus, air's in the body.
Okay.
Body / pylorus.
Oh, I thought you was talking about the last one.
This one's primarily to see the fundus in a better view.
Air in the fundus. Sorry, means air in the fundus.
Hmm?
Uh,
Barium's in the
JP
fundus.
Barium.
Air's in the body pylorus.
You use it primarily to see what?
The fundus. And that's what it says right there for evaluation criteria. We're interested mostly in the fundic portion of the stomach. That's the main point of that exam there. Make it as simple as possible for you guys. Focus on the red. I know it's a lot, but I'm trying to simplify it down for you.
Funding.
What'd you say?
You spicy today.
You said it wasn't fun?
She said that's all of it.
Oh, it's all of it.
That's all of everything.
That's all I'm gonna know.
That's the main point. That's the main point.
That's all you need to know is what he's saying.
That's what I'm saying. Let's look at the lateral stomach and duodenum. So it can also be done recumbent or upright. Where's the centering for this one? L1, L2 for recumbent, L3 for upright. True lateral position. So this one's going to share the same centering as the REO and the PA. The LPO is going to be a little bit different, remember, because the LPO is in between the xiphoid and the lower rib margin.
And when you're upright, it always, centering always goes lower.
Just a little bit because of gravity pulling everything down. Okay, it's perpendicular centure. We're still suspending on expiration. That's the same. No change there. What are we looking at on this one? This one is primarily for the anterior and posterior aspects of the stomach. That's why we do a lateral stomach and duodenum. We also are going to see the pyloric canal and duodenal bulb in profile again, just like that REO. So this was just that pyloric canal in the best view. So anterior, posterior aspects of the stomach.
What is this picture?
This is a lateral.
Okay, it just threw me off because I think I saw the duodenal on the right.
And I think we went over this, but just to review again, for a lateral, it's going to share the same barium and air distribution as a PA. For laterals, we're talking about a regular lateral, not decubitus. A regular lateral, the barium's in the body of pylorus, air's in the fundus. For a regular lateral, barium's in the body of pylorus, air is in the fundus. To put it even simpler, we'll look at the front and back of the stomach on the lateral projection.
Which one's the front? Oh, this
This would be posterior because the spine's posterior.
Oh.
That'd be your posterior portion. This would be your anterior portion.
Are all the stomach views suspend on expiration?
Yes, just like because it's abdomen,
Mm-hmm.
same as like a KUB, everything in that region.
Even the esophagus?
Esophagus, you're not really worried about breathing instructions, you're just having them swallow. But technically, you would have them hold their breath because it's in the thorax. But it's kind of hard to hold your breath and
Yeah, well,
swallow.
gee.
So you're not really worried on breathing for that one. Okay, so what are we interested in again? Entire stomach in that duodenal loop portion. That's the main stars of our show for our lateral stomach and duodenum. That's a very pretty picture there. We actually got it all on that one. There's your fundus, there's your body pylorus, there's your C loop.
Where's the bulge?
Bulb is a little bit superimposed right here. I know it says it shows the bulb, but you can't really see it as good on that one. That's why the REO is optimal for the bulb. Okay, I sent y'all practice images in your email as well.
Okay, cool.
So look at the anatomy and label.
So, are they gonna have labels like the lines, or are we just gonna have to look at the
Should have,
picture?
I think I already have them already. I think they may, most of them have like the actual anatomy pointed out for you already.
Okay,
If
cool.
I'm not mistaken.
Thank you.
Double check though.
This show.
And finally, the AP stomach and duodenum is going to be supine. Special notes, if the patient has a suspicion of a hiatal hernia, we will do, instead of a regular supine, we'll do Trendelenberg.
Mm.
Remember that? We didn't talk about that since first semester.
Head down, head lower
Yeah.
than the feet.
What would be the Fowlers?
The
Head
head is
higher
higher
than
than the feet.
Very good. So Trendelenberg for suspicion of hiatal hernia.
What about
Yes.
I see them do Trendelenberg,
Yeah.
or I have seen them do
Okay.
Trendelenberg for almost every upper GI and esophagram anyways. Is that just for reflux, or?
It's probably just because they're just being thorough to check for hernias.
Okay.
Here they are, they don't know what they're doing. Which is a possibility.
At this point.
From all these stories I'm hearing, that's a strong possibility. Lord have mercy. Okay. The centering for this one is going to share the centering with the LPO. We're centering halfway between the lower rib margin and the xiphoid again for the AP supine. All that is just like fine tuning for your cassette sizes, guys, but I want y'all to focus on that centering point. That's the main piece of info on that slide. That's both for Trendelenberg and regular AP, by the way. Centering is the same. Okay, perpendicular central ray, as John's just said, suspending on expiration. So all the breathing instructions are the same for all of your upper GI projections. Suspend on expiration. And what's the main star of our show here? A contrast-filled fundus. And then, if present, we want to see a herniation to the diaphragm. Contrast-filled fundus. So on an AP supine, guys, contrast is where? In the fundus. And where's the air?
In the pyloric region.
Body pylorus. So what we want to see, entire stomach and duodenal loop, double contrast visualization of the gastric body, pylorus, and duodenal bulb. We'll show all of those for AP stomach and duodenum. And then evaluation criteria, I should have put that in red, that first bullet point. So I want you to focus on the entire stomach and the duodenal loop.
Oh, I'm in the wrong chapter. God, hold on. Oh, there I'm at.
So while y'all are writing, guys, let's review one more time, 'cause that's the end of the projections for the stomach. Where is the barium for a PA?
In the pylorus of body.
Pylorus and body. Where's the air for a PA?
Fundus.
Fundus.
fundus. If I'm doing an REO, where's the barium?
In the pylorus and the body.
Still pylorus and body. Where's the air?
Still in the fundus?
Still in the fundus. Come on, more than 2 people. Y'all need to know this. It's gonna be a big part of your test. If I'm doing a lateral projection, where is the barium?
In the fundus?
In the body.
Body and pylorus. Where's the air?
In the
Fundus. If I'm doing an LPO, where's the barium? In the fundus. Where's the air? Someone besides Monsi.
In the body and
In the
pylorus?
body and pylorus.
So, question, for the first 3 that you mentioned, which was
Why am I only-
prone, AOs, and lateral?
Say again?
For the first 3 that you mentioned,
That was PA, REO, and lateral. They're all the same.
okay, they're all the same, cool.
Then LPO and then AP would be the last one. AP supine, barium in the fundus, air's in the body and pylorus. That's the 5 you need to know. Y'all got that? Really, since you just need to learn 2, you know all the rest. LPO and supine. Those are both barium in the fundus, air in the body. All the other ones are opposite. See that? Yes, no, that didn't help you?
Said it one more time. LPO and what?
LPO and AP supine. The barium's in the fundus, the air's in the body. Therefore, the other 3 projections are going to be the opposite. So if you know those 2, apply the opposite principle to the other 3 projections. You have a total of 5 that we went over.
There's
There's PA, REO, and lateral. And they have barium in the body, air in the fundus. All right? See the wheels turn.
Hey, I need some WD-40.
Okay, let's answer these questions here, guys. A PA oblique of the esophagus requires a patient to be positioned in a what?
Use the first one,
35
then
to
the
40.
We all right there, Emily? Oh. 35 to 40, it was 35 to 40 REO. 35 to 40 REO. Why was it D?
30 to 40.
Correct. These, I want you, I know y'all are falling half asleep into a coma here. Please pay attention to this. This is how these questions get you. Look what the question said, a PA oblique. That eliminates those 2 answers. Because a PA oblique only refers to REOs and LEOs. So you can cut your answers in half. Read those carefully. Did y'all see that?
Mm-hmm.
Wake up a little bit, wake up for 30 seconds and notice that.
Wait, repeat that.
It's all right, it's all right. PA oblique, that's your key words. So if I see PA oblique, I know that can only apply to an REO and LEO. Therefore, C and D can't be correct. I can eliminate half those answers. So it has to be B. Okay, which position may be used to demonstrate a hiatal hernia?
See, that's the
Trendelenberg.
only one I know.
Hey, something. Let's talk about our small intestine procedures. It'll be our small bowel follow-throughs, the ones that can be very short or take all day or take 2 days sometimes, depending on the patient. Depends on how fast it goes through the system. Like sometimes a lot of babies will go, I've had babies go for 48 hours.
So do they stay the neck or how do they do that?
Well, they're usually already inpatients.
Oh, okay.
Usually they're preemies as well. They just take a long time to get all that all the way through. Okay, so barium or other opaque contrast is going to be administered one of 3 ways for our small bowel follow-throughs, either orally, drinking the solution, reflux filling via a large volume barium enema, which would be a very uncomfortable way to have that done. Y'all understand what that means? Because you're just shooting it all up the rear, going backwards.
Oh, yeah.
Reflux filling via large volume enema.
Fun.
Very fun. Or direct injection via tube placed into the small bowel that we call enteroclesis. Oh, it would. You do it through like a stoma.
It's just small, it's gonna give me.
Mhm.
Is that the one, it's for the one?
Typically,
That's what I
yes.
read.
Typically, yes. Oral methods will be your most common. Now, good news for this section, guys, there's only one projection. KUBs.
Thank you.
For this one, that's a little reprieve before we get to the large intestine. Oh, Lord, indeed, yes. All right, so how do you prep for this one? Soft or low residue diet for 2 days before the study. Pay close attention to these. These do vary between exams. This is different than the upper GI. Small bowel, 2 days before. It's that soft or low residue diet. Food and fluid withheld after evening meal on day before the examination. Breakfast withheld on day of examinations. No eggs and bacon, I'm sorry. Cleansing enema of colon may be administered, but not for sure. Depends on the procedure. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what I was telling you about last time. The most deceptive name on the face of the earth. Go lightly. Why they name it? This is like, it's like a sick joke by the manufacturer.
Yeah.
There's nothing light by how you go when you take go lightly. It's like go heavy
Have you taken it?
twice. And you have to drink, this jug is like this big. You have to drink that whole jug like in an hour.
Oh.
It's horrible. It's horrible. But that's
Do you-
what gets you all cleaned out. Now, I will say you do feel cleaned out.
Do you wait?
Hmm?
Do you finish the
Wait? You know when it's
bottle
going
by the
down?
time that you actually?
I'll be honest, I've never successfully finished that whole bottle.
Hey,
It's too much.
You're already going like.
I mean, I get cleaned out, but my stomach can't hold that much.
Mhm.
It's just too much.
It looks like a big
It's
jug.
It's a big jug. It's nasty too. It's like very thick syrup.
Mm.
I need to
For
try
the
this.
family.
Huh?
Use for the family. It's a big
For the
jug.
family.
Meaning that it's so enough that everybody can use it.
Oh Lord, no! Don't give this to your family. You won't be cleaning up diarrhea all over your house. Not to be gross, but you're gonna be having go lightly contents all over your house.
She said, "I saw
No,
that
it's for
beneficiary."
one person. Unless you want to play a very nasty prank on somebody and put that in their drink, which I wouldn't do that to my worst enemy. It's just
I
horrible.
would.
Can you
So-
get it like a prescription or?
It's prescription. I mean, you can buy over-the-counter laxatives, but that's the powerful one there.
Avoid that.
That's yeah, wet and wild. Okay.
Whoa.
Well, that woke y'all up. I got a little bit of response out of that one.
Wow.
I need to talk about gross stuff more often. Y'all have to wake up. Okay.
And I was like, you know what, that like reminded me of, you ever
Done.
see White
We're
Chicks?
on the same energy.
I know what
That,
Oh,
that
man.
clip where she's on the restroom.
Oh, that happens on there? Okay, so for the small bowel, we call it a small bowel series because it's a series of KUBs alongside the doctor doing fluoro at the end. These are going to be produced at timed intervals, usually starting at 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, hour, 2 hours, days, weeks, months. No, not those last two.
Yeah.
Not weeks or months, or hopefully no more than 2 days is usually the max. Each image, very important, we must identify with a time marker. Do we use digitized time markers? Well, one person remembered, okay.
Yeah.
But we can't.
We do not. We do not. I know you're seeing it in clinic, but technically, per the ART, if they were to ask you that on your test, that should still be a physical marker. I know we don't ever see that done, and honestly, I've never used one either. I've done digital time markers because they didn't have physical time markers. Per the curriculum, that should be a physical marker still. Please keep that in mind.
In our, like, the checker that we just went over, it says that it's okay to use annotation for time, patient positioning, and flexion extension.
Did it say that? Are you sure?
Mm.
I'll have to double check
What
that.
page is
Just
that
not
on?
for anatomical marker.
I'll have to double check that because I
What
can
page
almost
is it?
swear they're
It
still
says
asking
do
that
not
one.
use for anatomical marker, but it can be used for
Okay,
time,
I'm gonna double check that because
patient position, and.
for now, for now though, let me double check that for now, keep it the physical, just because I know if it comes to a registry question, they're gonna get you on that. Let me double check though. I'll make sure. Okay, for these images, they'll be either supine or prone, but preferably supine. You're typically not gonna see it done prone. I don't think I've ever done a prone small bowel film, at least to my memory. It should be supine. When we do supine, that's going to improve the visualization of the duodenum and jejunum. We do look at jejunum, ileum, duodenum, all three parts. And it's going to prevent compression of the loops of the intestine. It's going to spread them out a little further. Gives a better view. Prone, if we do want to compress the abdomen and increase image quality, we can opt to do so, but supine is considered the more optimal view too. I hope you're right on that, Monty. Actually, that would make it a lot. That would be more practical. The digital markers. I'm worried the registry's still going to want y'all to put physical though.
Physical time marker? I've never seen.
Mhm.
What is it?
And flora.
I'm going to look it up.
Where would you get them?
Well, a lot of places, I mean, I've seen them, they have time
It'll say
markers.
like
That's
5
like
minutes.
15 minutes?
It'll say
Oh,
like
okay.
5 minutes, 10 minutes, stuff like that, right? The markers.
Mhm.
It's
Oh, no, I'm missing.
so is it every 10 or every 15? Or does it depend
Depends
on
on what the doctor tells you.
Okay.
It should be chapter 10.
We're going to look at the most average times, but the doctor can give you different intervals depending on patient condition and things like that. Some patients it moves exceptionally fast, so it'll be like, every 7 minutes, every 5
Oh,
minutes.
those are the fast dumpers? Okay.
Okay, so typically, on average, we're going to take that first image after the scalp, by the way, and they've drunk the solution, 15 minutes. 15 minutes after ingestion of barium. Very important number to remember there, guys. Big star on that. Your next interval will vary between 15 and 30 minutes on average. Let's say on average because your doctor, they kind of make that decision for you. They might tell you to do it an hour from then. You never know what they're going to say to you. But on average, 15 to 30 minutes. The radiologist will inspect every image and tell you whether to continue letting them lay there or to have them go back to their room if it's taking way too long, so on and so forth. But they'll basically give the guide telling you what to do with that patient through the procedure. They can go on for hours, they can go on for days, it just depends on the patient. Now we are watching that barium flow through the intestines until it reaches specifically the ileocecal region. At that point, they're going to use fluoroscopy to obtain what we call compression radiographs to open up the bowels and get a spot film of that ileocecal valve specifically.
And that's the little wand that inflates?
That's a little balloon, yes. The exam is complete once the barium enters the cecum. Big star on that too. Very important points. That's typically on average 2 hours after ingestion. It can be faster or slower depending on the patient, of course. 2 hours with normal motility, as they say. Oh, I didn't tell y'all on the upper GIs and small bowels, a little trick you can help your patients because for upper GIs, they're of course looking for barium to get to the C loop. And sometimes it just sits in the stomach for a while. Same thing with the small intestine, you want to get to the ileocecal valve, and so it's just kind of sitting in there. They say, tell your patients to think of their favorite meal. So you're with the patient, tell them to think of their favorite meals, and that can stimulate the contents to move a little faster sometimes. So with kids, it'd always be really fun. So they're trying like pizza and candy and ice cream and things like that. But you tell them to imagine if they're eating it, their favorite food, and sometimes you just see the bear and go, whoop, just start moving. Works pretty good.
So is that the mind like releasing a hormone or?
It's stimulating the peristalsis.
Cool.
Yes. All right. Boy, I love those projections. There's just one. PA or AP at timed intervals. That's your essential projections for the small intestine, small bowel follow through exams. So how do you do it? Prone or supine. Now for the 30-minute interval specifically, this is very important. This is the only thing that's a little bit different. For the 30-minute interval, which is the 30-minute film, we're going to set the IR at the level of L2. Everything else, about scalp, first 15-minute film, and everything after the 30-minute film, we're doing them all at the iliac crest, like a normal KUB. So everything with a small bowel is done like a KUB except for the 30-minute film. Because that's approximately whenever the barium's in the stomach and the C loop, it's going to give them a better visualization of that area without it being cut off. Big star on that. That's a great question. It's higher at 30-minute interval.
You're talking about the
second, it's like,
It'd be the third film technically. Cause you do a scalp, 15 minute, then 30 minute. Okay, so perpendicular central ray, we're still doing the films on expiration. And what do we want to see, guys? Progressive filling of that small intestine until it reaches that ileocecal valve. And ultimately, we do want to see the barium in the cecum. It tells us that the procedure is done. We have finished. So that would be an example right there on that picture of a 30-minute interval film. The reason I can tell that is look how high they're centered. We're not at the crest on that film. Either that or just a really bad tag on that picture. That's likely a 30-minute film. They didn't put a marker so you can't tell. Okay, last slide of the day, guys. We'll wrap it up right here. What are we looking for? Of course, the entire small intestine on all images.
Okay.
Stomach on the initial. We need our time marker. And then once again, your completion of the exam when we see that barium reach the cecum. All right, we'll end there today, guys. We'll pick back up on Thursday talking about